the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz podcast here this morning. Brett and Randy here coming with you, and we're glad that you join us wherever and whenever it is that you join us here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Randy, good to see you this morning, diving right in to it. A lot to talk about, a new partnership announced with Auburn and Yellowwood. We'll dive into that. A big potential announcement of recruit coming up tonight. I know Auburn feels pretty good about it. I think you and I and all of us have talked about it for a few weeks. We felt like Auburn was, maybe favored in this one. So we'll talk about that. And our Baylor's receivers elite too. We'll see that. We'll check into that a little bit. Maybe some comments from Dave Aranda after the scrimmage a couple of days ago. So we'll dive into all of that this morning. Of course, you can comment away here with us as we're live this morning. Sometimes we have it recorded, but we are live and in person. Faith will join us a little bit later on. But, Randy, as we get started here, a lot to talk about. We'll start with the Yellowwood agreement. Jimmy Rain, Yellowwood, been longtime partners of Auburn, big supporters. He has had some of the most unique commercials in SEC history. He works with everybody. The Jimmy Rain Foundation, we were able to attend that this year, and so many good scholarships that are divvied out. So his company has done so much for so many people, and everybody knows how much Jimmy Rain, the rest of us love Coach Dye. The field's been named after Coach Dye for a long time, but now you're going to see it on game days. You'll see it down there with that big Yellowwood logo as well.
Well, I think it's wonderful. The connection with those two there. So just kind of adding that in the mix. But we're very fortunate to have some great graduates of Auburn University. And I think every university out there at least has hopefully their handful that kind of keeps things going as well. But, the one thing that I appreciate about Jimmy Rain is not only does he love Auburn, but he's a massive SEC contributor too. I'm into the documentary series, and anytime that I can watch, something that's coming out as far as some type of historical feel to it. And he's embraced that too. So lucky to have him in the state of Alabama. I know at one time, I don't know if it's the case right now, but a couple of years ago, he was the lone billionaire in the state of Alabama. And so just tremendous success. You don't have that type of success without being dynamic and without forward thinking, and he's always been that way. And I know that you've gotten to know him a little bit in some instances that y'all been around each other, and you think a lot of him, and I know the state does as well. So I think it'll be a nice bonus to the stadium. And Pat Dye Field, you couldn't name it. I mean, we were having a back and forth with our fathers a couple of weeks ago. And I'll say this, I don't think Roger will mind. But he said, when's the last great coach we've had? Would somebody tell me when we're going to get another great one? And I said, it's real simple. The last great one we've had is Pat Dye. We've had some slightly above average coaches. I think Coach Tuberville is above average. How far above average? I don't know. I mean, we can have a back and forth on that. I think Gus Malzahn was above average. How far? I don't know. We can have a little back and forth on that, but I don't think anybody.
Both of those guys had some really good success, but they also had some tough years too.
But the greatness was in Pat Dye, and
sure,
us '80s kids understand that. And if you pull that program into today's game, where you play 14 or 15 games, I mean, those teams would have won 12 or 13 games a year. I mean, the one or two that they had that were close every year were nail biters, and some of the most disappointing losses in our school's history in any sport and in SEC history. And you can point back to a few of those, but you can't take anything away. I didn't get a chance to talk about the national championship, Brett. So look, you and Faith can attack this. I'm
gonna give you the floor, because hold on, we hadn't talked since, man, look at all that's going on. You and I talked about Cam Newton's jersey being retired.
Yes.
We did talk a little bit about that. Then the national championships that are going to be, they're being added to the stadium right now. Like the signs are going up. Y'all have anything to do with that? By the way, I didn't mean.
We didn't do that one.
Okay.
We're
I
doing
know you're doing everything else down there, but
I wish we would have done.
Well, they're just putting the numbers up inside the stadium.
I sent the photo over and said, how did we miss this? So so the answer is no. Because I would have loved to have been the one doing
right.
that.
Well, I knew I hadn't heard, but anyway, y'all are doing so much other stuff. I mean, they spread it around a little bit. But the numbers are going up on the stadium. So I did want your take on that because we did talk about that at length the other day. Faith and I kind of went down the list, and we also used other colleges, not just Alabama, but other colleges that have done the same thing. And, you and I have always said, why in the world do we have to feel like we are the banner toters for the right way to do things? And like, again, it goes back to this, recruiting stuff over the summer. And while we're not doing some of the things that everybody else is still doing because they're waiting on a ruling to come down, and the way they are, I guess, anticipating this thing coming down, just keep doing business as usual. And then they come in and tell you, don't do it, just don't do it. But Auburn's always had these hits kind of sitting out there in the distance, and it's been brought up time after time after time. It'll get some legs, and then it'll die. And then now John Cohen, like, I appreciate him for coming in and saying, this is enough talking about all this shit. Let's put them up there. Do we want to recognize them or not? If we don't, then let's just not bring it back up at all. But if we are going to go, well, why don't we just put the 13 and 14 team up there? One team tied a game and one team went undefeated. Well, okay, then, if we're all in consensus and Auburn people are fine with it, then put the dang thing up there. Who cares what everybody else is going to say? Everybody's going to shoot holes in it, but in 3 or 4 weeks, nobody's going to talk about it. And you're going to look up on the side of the stadium and you go, oh, damn, Auburn's got 9 national championships. And by the way, Randy, before I turn the floor back over to you, Auburn now second in SEC all-time in national championships behind Alabama, which has 18. So it is what it is.
Well, the Alabama's 18. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face. And look, you and I have done full programs on this. So I could talk about this for 10 hours. I'll only talk about it for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to let you and Faith hit that Baylor receivers elite too. I know one Baylor receiver that I can give you any take on. That's Kobe Prentice. You and I called him every single year of his high school career because we were in the same region. I love Kobe Prentice. I was taking my son to dinner last night, look up on the TV, and I've got the Vandy and Alabama game on. And unfortunately, Kobe Prentice got knocked out cold in that game, staggered off the field. And I don't know how much that set him back because he had moments where I thought he was making a splash there at Alabama.
I thought the year before was even better for him last year.
That's all I can give you. I just gave you 35 seconds on Baylor's receivers, and then you and Faith, y'all can attack the rest of it. I can give you all day that you want on these championships. One, here is where I've always stood with it. First off, I'm not making any decisions as an Auburn fan based off of what the arch nemesis across the state thinks. Okay, there's 2 things that I'll stick to on this. Our uniforms, you know where I stand on this. Because they're great. They're holier than thou. They're not going to change up their uniforms. Oh, gosh, let's change tradition. I've been saying this for years, and there's a few Auburn fans that will fight with me on this. My gosh, change it up a little bit. Have a little fun with it. The new players enjoy it. Just because you're 78 and you don't want it to change up a little bit, and I'm sorry, Father. I mean, that doesn't mean that others don't want it to change up, and the new kids that you're out recruiting wouldn't like it. Now, they're the people across the state that we hate. What's really odd to me is when you make decisions based off of people that hate you and you hate.
Right.
So I would try to make every single decision I can make based off of how much I despise Alabama. And if they're going to say something negative, I'm making the decision just sheerly because of that. That's how much I dislike them. So, and we had a back and forth last night with our good friend Luke, and he and I have had this.
I
fight for 20
just
minutes.
decided to opt out. That text thread went for about 30 texts, and I said, "There's no reason to jump into this."
It's the same fight every
Randy,
time.
it's so funny to watch. I said this the other day. The entire internet melted down. Like every fan base, every podcast, the guy at LSU went on about 25 minutes about how this was literally the most absurd and funny thing. It set everybody off.
Oh, yeah, we hate him. We definitely hate anybody that wears crimson. So if it upsets you, I'm trying to do it. Like, I don't know if that makes me crazy, but if it upsets you that much, I want to do it like every day. So, Luke, all of you Bamas out there could care absolutely less what you think about this decision. Here's the ones that I've always thought about. What about the players, man?
I said it yesterday. What
Did
they not earn it? Do they not deserve the recognition?
You know, what about the play? And I know some of them are back in the teens, but I don't think anybody can even deny that.
Well, at some point in time, 2025 is going to be 100 years ago. So are people down the line going to say, well, that happened back in 2025? That don't count. I mean, is that what you're going to do?
I think I saw a tweet out of one of your friends now on the beat. Auburn in one of those teen years outscored their opponents 193 to zilch. 193 to zilch. It's like, okay, like what's a champion? Honestly, you and I cover high school sports. I make 1 million posts a day for the HSA.
Right.
A lot of them historical because they get more legs than even recent stuff. You know, there was a lot of state championships won pre-1970 that were mythical. They put mythical on there. But it ain't mythical to the ones that won it. You think Red Phillips' 54 team at Elliott City thinks that it's or the 53 team thinks it's mythical that they went undefeated and won a state championship that the Birmingham News gave them?
A damn pencil pusher is the one out there saying that it's mythical. I mean, why can't you just go ahead and award it?
It's mythical because they're the only ones that had a chance to choose it. So the back and forth I had with Luke last night, let's look at 83. Hell, I don't look.
How did Miami jump Auburn? How did Miami jump Auburn from 3-1?
It's ridiculous. And
people just made a decision.
And it's if the USA Today, like in say 93 or 2004, and you've got a legitimate outlet that picks you as a national champion, what if you were part of those teams? And some new athletic director or some new head coach into your school at Auburn that's never been a fan, and they're the ones making the decision, had zero to do with the play on the field and know very little about it, and they're the ones deciding whether you should hang that banner or not. Something seems a little off to me with that. So I do appreciate A.D. Cohen for making this decision. It should have been made an awful long time ago. We didn't make up that the USA Today chose us as national champion.
No.
Did we?
We didn't. No.
Did Brett Pritchard or the Auburn fan base just decide that?
And like some of these things in the back, like the older years, there were all types of different things that don't even exist anymore. So you're going to say, okay, so that publication doesn't exist anymore. We're not going to honor that at the time.
The NCAA doesn't say that.
That's what I'm saying.
And you know, when I fought about it a couple of years ago with all of you, not you, of course. I mean, you were on my side, but with the Bammers, the ones that we're trying to piss off anyway. when I fought with them a few years ago, like, what does the NCAA deem? They've got a whole list of outlets that they say if one of them named y'all national champion, claim it. And what's Auburn gonna like? We're just gonna not take that description that they have. We're gonna make up our own, just try to stay holier than thou, and not fly banners. What if you were?
We're only going to recognize AP, and that's the whole thing now, Randy. Like everything prior to the playoff being installed
was a popularity contest.
That's exactly right. Like again, you can go down and we can get into all these fights with all these other fan bases and all these other teams, but everybody's done it to a degree. If they've been awarded something by somebody, it was all discretionary, man. It was all like, okay, this publication and this group said that you were a national champion, and this, I know the AP carries more weight. Look, I get that. No, I know that, but that's kind of the benchmark, and I know that has kind of been the standard. But over time, but even before the AP, before all that, there were teams being awarded different things. Like you can go on the NCAA website and look at multiple years, and there's multiple teams recognized as national champions. Now, the NCAA may not officially recognize Auburn or Alabama as a national champion in certain years, but then there's other publications. Then you go on down, it says claimed national titles, and it's got all the schools and all the schools that claimed the titles. So the LSU guy was going on a rant. It's like, well, we need to claim so-and-so. I'm like, well, then do it. Go do it.
Why not? You know, Luke was making mention about a basketball championship where they went undefeated in like the 30s.
Yeah.
Hell, why would you not claim that? Would somebody explain? Would somebody call and or send Brett a message? Don't worry about me because I'm about to be pushing a damn lawnmower all over God's green earth today. But call Brett and explain to Brett why you wouldn't run that national championship banner up there. I don't understand. I really don't. Get it, man. And look, I've fought. I can't stand the Bammers, but I've also fought for their 66 title. I mean, they run some up there that like 41.
41.
It doesn't make any sense. So, but that's fine. If they want to claim it. I don't care. I mean, as long as we're claiming ours, claim them. But, you know, how pissed off I'd be if I was a Bama fan and Notre Dame and Michigan State played some sleepwalk of a 10-10 tie, and they tied, and we had won national championships 2 consecutive years, and we go undefeated again, and they decide because they had to watch that sleepwalking mess in 66 to not give Alabama a national
objective. Hell, it's all objective.
I'm telling you, I'd run a banner up there so fast, and whichever ones decide that it's not legitimate, it's ridiculous. In their
from 83 to 84, like again, the LSU guy was like, well, you know, Alabama and Auburn are just in the biggest pissing match of the state of Alabama is just one big pissing match. You know, Alabama claimed from 83 to 84, they added 5. They went from 6 to 11. Okay. The 83 media guide had 6. And look, very ingenious. You know, that guy came in, that AD or that sports information director did the research and said, well, crap, what are we missing all these for?
Why would we not claim these?
They didn't really make a big deal about it. They just went overnight from going from 6 to 11. So, and then people started punching, and then I've seen the screenshots and stuff, and that's fine. But I think it's hypocritical of either fan base and anybody else out there in the country that's ever done that to point a finger at the other if you've done it. Like, we've had fun laughing. I had some Auburn people say, well, we can't laugh at Alabama now because we did it. I'm like, I was pulling for us to do it 25 years ago because I went through and I look, I worked in the SID office as a student at Auburn, and I went through all those records. I had to work on the media guide every single year. And going through all those records, I looked down and I went, okay, why we got a bunch of undefeated teams back here that ain't got any recognition? Like, did they just say, oh, that was Auburn down there, let's give it to Army? Because back in the day, Army and Harvard and Princeton and some of these other schools up in the Ivy Leagues, they got everything. I mean, it was like if they went 3-0, if they played 3 games, 3-0, okay, I'm being hypothetical, but you know, but bottom line is they did carry more weight. Army was a powerhouse back then and all that. And you look at it, and maybe back then you go, well, Auburn didn't really get a lot of coverage or whatever, so people didn't pay attention to that team that went 8-0. And so it's like, why haven't we gone back and made right? And you said it a minute ago. This ain't even about the fans and pointing fingers at each fan base. It's about the families of the players that play. Like if I had a granddaddy or a great-granddaddy that had played on that team and I went to Auburn and I'd go, well, why is my granddaddy or my great-granddaddy's team up on the rafters here in Jordan-Hare and everybody else's is? Did they not count? Did football not count back in 1913? Did it not count? I mean, I'm with you on that. I think that's the biggest part of this is that why not honor the people that did it on the field? Who cares what the fans say?
Well, I applaud that it's finally being done. Back to my first point, I more than welcome the Alabama fans to be upset about it. We hate LSU too.
Oh, yeah.
We're an equal opportunity hating fan base. All right. We're pretty nice people. You walk up to us, we'll smile, but I promise we get in our own little circles, and we can't stand any of these SEC schools. How many friends of yours that are an Auburn fan like Georgia, Brett? You know anybody that likes Georgia?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a
The
little
one,
bit.
the one that's about to jump on here with us here in about 5 or 10 minutes.
She hates them.
She can. The disdain for Georgia is at a level that maybe is the level of mine and yours for Alabama.
So this is my point. I mean, look, don't make decisions based off of what the people that you definitely don't like their opinion anyway.
Right.
And so I'm applauding that.
I mean, do you go out there and make a decision in business based on somebody that's gone out there and ripped you a new one on social media? Seriously.
What's the answer, Brett?
I mean, I know exactly what the answer is. So,
I mean, I've been dealing with you long enough for everybody to know.
Hey, I posted something yesterday.
Some of that stuff makes me want to get up in the morning. You know, there is a part of me that is competitive enough that if I didn't have that going on in the background, I'd probably get a little bored. And so, I actually embrace it.
I mean, I posted something yesterday on my Instagram and Facebook, and it's just a little graphic, and it's got like 100 people standing under the word critics. And then the next category's got like maybe 50 people standing under the word talkers. And then over here on the doers category is 3. And I sent that out and I said, critics watch, talkers talk, and doers win. And it's the truth. I mean, you're always, no matter what you're doing out here, I mean, we're out here putting ourselves out on a podcast every day. We don't claim to know everything, but we do our research and we try to provide good information. There's people every time taking damn shots at me every day. You're an idiot. I'm like, well, okay, I probably am an idiot, but you know, I don't stand behind or sit behind a keyboard all day and type and find what's wrong with everybody and not be involved in the community and do things like that. And I tell everybody else how wrong they are at what they do. There's a lot of people out there.
All right, so is Faith coming on shortly?
She'll be on in probably about 3 or 4 minutes.
How excited are you? I only got a couple more minutes, but we start high school football tomorrow night.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I can sit here and talk about this, but Ben Russell going to Opelika tomorrow night to start the season.
We got football tonight, Randy, in Montgomery.
We've got a kickoff classic starting up tonight. Great matchup. Tune in, AHSA Radio Network throughout the state, 20-plus radio stations pulling those in. And so excited about that, Brett. But let's talk about our game tomorrow night real quick. This is the last podcast I'll be on with you. A lot of talent out there. And I still think there's a lot
Not
of talent.
last permanently, everybody, by the way, just this week. So
what's that now?
You said the last podcast I'm going to be on with you. I said not permanently, everybody, just this week.
Some of the people would probably be happy about that. But no, just this week though. Hey, there's talent that's already committed, but there's a lot of young talent on both of these teams that are very well coached. That if you're just a college football fan and you're over in Lee County and you're looking for a good high school game tomorrow night, that's going to be a great one. And there's not a better look. Opelika's our rival, always has been. It's been our biggest rival when I was in school. And, you know, you can look at the scores. But there's not a community that embraces high school football any better than Opelika. There's not. I think Ellick City's right there with them. But, I mean, they're an amazing fan base. So it's going to be a great atmosphere tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is. Excited about it. You know, it's been it's always been a rival for us. And, you know, it's changed a little bit over the years. But, you know, when the lights come on tomorrow night and both those teams run out, it'll take you right back in your mind to whatever game you want to go back to in that series. And yeah, both programs have a lot of pride in their communities and in their schools, and that's what makes it what it is. So, but you're right too. The players on both sides are phenomenal. And there's some guys that are seniors, but there's some guys that are young guys too that are going to be jumping in that you're going to be watching. You know, obviously Kingston Preyer been named the number 1 player in the 28 class. So I told somebody the other day, I said, how many times do you get the number 1 player in 2 respective classes on your team? So Darren Morgan, 26 class, Kingston Preyer, 28 class. I mean, may never happen again ever.
Well, I know it's never happened for the two of us, and
No.
this will be year 26 for you and year 21 for me. And I yelled across last night. Mike Goggins was kind of running the flag football practice that we had last night, and I said, Mike, 21 years ago, I started calling. That was his first group. That was his group, by the way. So that's how you're getting old. You're looking old, but we just keep marching along. And here comes the Georgia Bulldog fan, Faith, right in the middle, right
Oh,
here.
God,
So,
you see that look you just
That
got?
was so crazy of a way to introduce me. That was awful.
If she missed our conversation a little bit earlier,
She did.
I'll
I'll definitely fill her in. We were talking about how much the disdain and hate that we have for Alabama. And I said, Randy said, when's Faith coming on? I said, about 3 or 4 minutes. I said, if you want to see somebody that has disdain, go check her out when you bring up the word Georgia. And so the hate for Georgia is as bad for you as it is for Alabama for us.
My whole body just went into full chills. My body just attacked its nervous system.
I don't know if there could be a worse insult for Faith, Randy, than for her to be called a Georgia.
Golly.
Well, I'm gonna step aside then. I'll be
Thank
tuning in
you.
and keep messaging
I know where
away.
you're at right now. You better watch out.
I'll tune in.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
Bye.
We'll welcome in Faith. What a great intro.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were talking about
Crazy.
literally. I had to give Randy the floor to talk about the national championship stuff and all how that's been. And he's like, "Look, when's the last time you made a decision based on people that hate you?" And I'm like, "Exactly. I mean, so if we don't care that Alabama people think this is stupid, we don't care that Georgia people think this is stupid." And he said, Randy said, "When was the last time? Do you have any friends? Do you know anybody that likes Georgia?" I said, "No." And I said, "The one that's about to be on with us hates Georgia more than any of us." And so that he queued that up perfectly for you.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But yeah, we got a lot more to talk about. And look, high school football starts tonight. It starts tonight, and then we'll have our game tomorrow. And then football for college starts next week. Man, we're here. Man, it already feels like the weekend. It's just Thursday. So but let's talk about some of our great partners here, Sensagreen.
Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporter of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. Got to catch up with Wade yesterday. It was so great talking to him. They are on fire right now with how busy they are. So make sure you call on Sensagreen. They're going to save you thousands of dollars on the installation of a carrier unit. And who doesn't love that?
I do. I like saving thousands of dollars, and you should too. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama. We saw those guys yesterday. Charles and their group, man, what a great group of guys and what a great business. If you got a multi-million-dollar project, municipality or education-wise, they're the guys to hire. I mean, they're on the ground. They make sure everything's done correctly. Check out Scout Program Management up in Birmingham. You will not be sorry. Actually, you'll be sorry if you don't pick them. I'll tell you that.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. If you're not able to go out there and get on the greens this weekend, go over to Bunkers. You'll be able to play on the golf simulator bays as well as 27 other sports. So it doesn't matter if you can't reach that sport, as in golf, because I can't myself. Go ahead and go over to Bunkers and go play over there. You can have drinks. They've got 2 different bars and food. In a great atmosphere and a great time.
All right. Baylor receivers, elite. Okay. Dave Aranda seems to think so, and I'm not saying they're not. I don't follow Baylor. I didn't watch every game last year. I do know they returned 2 starters, and Josh Cameron and Ashton Hawkins. But, I think the banter of everybody talking about Auburn's receivers and how good Auburn's DBs are, and kind of all that's what you get in preseason because you ain't got anything to go off of yet. But I went back and watched a little bit of this press conference after their second scrimmage, and he didn't hold anything back. He's like, "Yeah, I think we have maybe the best receiving group in the Big 12." In the Big 12, okay, and that's fine. Auburn's receiver group, because it's all talk right now, is one of the top 2 receiver groups in the country. Now, they got to go out and prove it, but so does Baylor. And so I went back and I looked. All right. So he talked about Lewis Brown coming in as a transfer. who is Lewis Brown? What has Lewis Brown been able to do? Lewis Brown coming in from Colorado State. Last year had 38 catches, 620 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now it's at Colorado State. And again, he got out of there because he wanted to go somewhere else that he felt like, maybe had a little bit more of a style of offense that could showcase his talents. I'm not doubting that Lewis Brown is a great receiver. Also a transfer, Faith, Kobe Prentice from Alabama. We've talked about him multiple times. He's projected to start, but last year only had 11 catches at Alabama, 129 yards. The year before had a little bit better year, only 18 catches, 314 yards. They only had 3 touchdowns. So still waiting to see if Kobe Prentice can be elite. Now we hear about stuff in practice and all that, but I don't know. I know it's kind of, I guess when you're the coach, you're protective of your players, just like Hugh Freeze is going to be protective of his, just like Kalen DeBoer is going to be protective of his. And this is you can take it however you want to take it. I think Dave Aranda said, well, you'll see, next Friday how good this group really is. And, I don't know that that's necessarily a shot at Auburn. It's just saying, look, I've got confidence. My guys can go out there and compete. And look, kudos to them because they're going to be lining up against one of the best secondaries in the country. I'm not afraid to say that.
And they said, I was watching something, they said Auburn might be the top 20 defense in the country. Would you put Auburn higher than that maybe?
I'm going to say that's probably a safe place right now until they get some games under their belt. But I definitely think Auburn's defense can even be a lot more elite than that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the uncertainty of the linebackers. Now, you and I and the rest of everybody that covers Auburn on a daily basis, we get to see practice and we get to see, okay, man, this linebacking group's pretty good and they're pretty deep. They haven't got a lot of reps in collectively, but I think they're going to be okay. But the national media can't really go all in on that because they ain't seen anything yet. They only see a little bit of a sample size of DeMarcus Riddick and then Robert Woodyard coming back, and then the rest, everybody hasn't really ever played at Auburn. So defensive line, same. You got some really elite guys up front, but you got some young guys that are going to have to fill some holes. So I just think people are going – I think it's definitely safe to say Auburn is a top 20 defense. And if you're a top 20 defense in the country, Faith, you're going to have a chance to do big things this year.
Yeah. And you can also argue with how you just said our offense and our defense, they're a lot younger. Baylor's been using that transfer portal for sure because majority of their starting lineup looks to be junior transfers, redshirt seniors, redshirt junior transfers. Like everybody looks to be a transfer over there.
Right.
And so, again, that's
including Walker White.
What?
Including Walker White.
Well, yeah, but he
will be the look if I'm gonna say that, and you don't know in a football game, if Sawyer Robertson were to go out, guess who's in at quarterback for Baylor? Walker White. He's the number 2 guy.
The youngest one out on the field.
Yes, he's the number 2 guy for Baylor right now. And again,
unless Caden Knighton gets out there, then
there you go.
Yeah, he's.
You think Colt McCoy was
not a red shirt?
You think Colt McCoy was expecting to go out after about 4 plays in the Alabama National Championship game? No, you don't know. That's the thing. We're not wishing ill will on anybody. I'm just saying football. He could step wrong and tweak an ankle. It's just the way it is. I'm just saying that Walker White. People are like, well, we're going to see Walker White. Well, in a perfect world, probably not. If Sawyer Robertson's playing up to standard, which last year his standard was pretty damn high, 62% completion percentage and over 3,000 yards passing and 28 touchdowns to only 8 picks. He's going to have to really have the worst mental breakdown in the world, or he's going to have to be injured before you see Walker White. But is there a chance you could see Walker White? There's always a chance. But it would have to be something bad and before you see Walker White in there. So when you look at Sawyer Robertson, to me, the wide receiver group is only as good as the quarterback throwing to them. And the same for Auburn. Look, the same exact thing can be said for Auburn. Your receivers are only as good as the guy that can deliver the ball to them. Now, again, they got to go out there and get off, blocks, and they got to get off coverage, and they got to run the correct routes and all that. But you got to have a guy that can deliver the football to you. And so, yeah, I mean, you can sit out here and talk about all these accolades for both wide receiver rooms, but Sawyer Robertson's got to get the ball to Kobe Prentice and the rest of that group, and same with Jackson Arnold or Deuce Knight's got to get the ball to Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton. That's the difference when you're looking at the way the national media looks at Baylor's group versus Auburn's group. They're getting national attention. Auburn is. Baylor is getting regional attention. Copper, please stop. Okay, I have to just tell him to stop. He's scratching the door. But anyway,
I can see him in the bottom.
Good Lord, have mercy. But anyway, that really is it. I mean, so they've got a chip on their shoulder. They want to go out and prove that they can go and compete with this wide receiver group at Auburn that's getting a ton of national recognition because Eric Singleton's already proved it. Cam Coleman was one of the top receivers in the country coming out of high school. And then Malcolm Simmons with all the praise he's getting, plus the guys Auburn went out and got, Horatio Fields and some of these other guys you want to add.
Yeah, it's been the biggest. It's been the biggest factor of communication with the quarterbacks because of our past and how it's led up to this point of not being able to develop a quarterback. And this dates back to a long time. But when you have the wide receiver core that we do, and like you said earlier, they can only do so much.
Right.
I mean, the other day when we were talking about it and they've got balls going to their feet or they're getting overthrown, they can only do as much as
they can only do whatever. But again, it's a shared deal. They got to run the right routes. The quarterback's got to get it to them where they can make plays.
And the quarterback's got to get it out of their hands to make that pass happen without getting sacked.
Sure. Yes.
I mean, it's just
everything's got to be lockstep. Everything's got to be in balance. The offensive line's got to do their job. Quarterback's got to do their job, and then the receiver. It's a threefold deal. So, but again, people were kind of like, "Oh, Dave Aranda, is he taking a little bit of a shots? Is he challenging?" Well, of course you look. That I'm not going to sit here and say that's not what he's supposed. What's he supposed to do? Go, well, yeah, Auburn's better than us. Their receivers are better than ours, but we'll go out there and see what we can do. I mean, it's his job to say, hey, they're good, but so are we. And I think Auburn needs to understand that. I mean, all this is on paper. You got to go out there and perform. And I'll say right now, they have a massive advantage right now at quarterback. I will go out there and say that. This guy comes back, is a proven guy, and we got a talented quarterback room, maybe the most talented quarterback room we've ever had, Faith. But we got a bunch of guys that hadn't really done anything. You can say Jackson Arnold's played 2 years, but he hadn't set the world on fire at all.
When you look at theirs, and they've all but maybe Kobe Prentice have all played together on that offensive side at least a year.
A lot to be said about chemistry.
So that, and again, being used to playing with each other, having that connection, it makes that much of a difference. And that's where Auburn's lacking right now. And
right.
Yeah, like you said, just the unprovenness.
I'm sorry I didn't get to a lot of those comments in the first segment with Randy. Kyle, yeah, John Cohen, one hell of a heater right now. Yeah, I mean, he's not afraid to go out here and do some things. People can question timing on stuff and all, but he's like, hey, I'm tired of waiting, tired of talking about it. Pull the trigger. Let's do it. We got a home game in 2 weeks. Let's get the national championships up there when everybody walks in. Let's get the Pat Dye logo on the field, so when everybody walks in, they see it. Let's retire Cam Newton's jersey. So when everybody walks in, they'll see the number 2 in the rafters now with the other 3 numbers that have been retired. So, yeah, that's what leaders do. And you can agree with their decisions or you can disagree with their decisions, but a leader makes a decision. I think that's the key thing. They don't wait around and hem-haw and straddle the fence. They're not always going to be right, but a lot of times they are going to be, and you can't be afraid to not make a decision. If you are, then leadership's not a role for you, and that's just part of it.
I think he's hyping Auburn up to be good this year and to be better than everybody's expecting. And again,
guess what the country's been talking about this week, Faith? Auburn.
Yeah.
Whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's claiming additional national championships, whether it's the logo on the field, he's forcing the national media to talk about Auburn leading into this season. Now, he's setting the stage. Now, Hugh Freeze, rest of the team, got to go out there and prove it.
But as of right now, before the season starts, I think he's doing a good job of faking it until we make it, because he's the one that's getting all this press and this coverage, and having everybody talk about Auburn, whether it's good or bad. Any talk is good. It doesn't matter what it is. And then that puts, I don't want to say pressure on Hugh Freeze, but that definitely puts him in a position that he needs to go and show that Auburn is what everybody has been saying, or is not what everybody's been saying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, put it out there. Like, you know what? People are going to take shots at you anyway. So just go ahead and put it out there. And see, Kyle said we should have claimed the double dribble Natty for basketball. That would have really triggered them. Yeah. Let's see. Glenn said, watch out for number 14 for BR tomorrow night. We'll definitely be doing that. Team JPC ×3 said Baylor has a Biletnikoff watch list wide receiver, too. Sneaky good wide receiver. I agree. I just went through the list here. Ashton Hawkins and Josh Cameron. I mean, Josh Cameron had a really, really good season last year. 52 catches, 754 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So, he really made a significant jump from the year before. We had 21 catches there. Ashton Hawkins, also a starter returning, like you said, a redshirt senior. 45 receptions for 567 yards and 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, they got 3 guys they're going to run out there that are really good, and then they really like Lewis Brown, and they like Cole Wilson as well. So let's just go see what happens. That's where we are. We are officially, Faith, tomorrow a week away from game time. So we are in game week mode at that point. So now it's time to throw all this preseason crap out the window and get down to business. And we'll have a one media window next week. I think it'll be on Tuesday, and we'll do a report, and then that'll be it. And we'll get some notes from practice and stuff that we'll be able to share with everybody. But then it'll be time to head out to Waco. I know you and I are excited about that opportunity. We're pumped to get out to Waco, Texas, and see what happens next Friday night.
Yep, and we'll have our pregame or our postgame recap sponsored by Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. So look forward to doing that after. Got to get out of the presser, and then hopefully find somewhere in Waco and sit down and do that and give everybody what our thoughts are and what we heard. So,
and we'll be taking everybody's comments. I'm sure they'll be going nonstop. It'll look like a ticker tape over here, and we want you to throw us your comments. We want to see all of them and hear from all of you. Reminder, like Faith said, to tune us in. We don't know exactly when we'll be going live after the game next Friday, but we will be going live. We'll add Randy in. Hopefully, Andy will get them in with us to talk and see what everybody's thoughts are. And of course, we do it for you guys. We want you to be able to come on and talk about how great that win is going to be on Friday, or unfortunately, if we happen to lose, and if we do, boy, we may shut the internet down. It may just overheat and blow up. But Mike said, give me your score, Brett. I'm not quite ready to do that yet, Mike. Probably do that next Thursday. We'll just go ahead and say, moving forward here on the podcast, Thursday for Friday's game, we'll give and take everybody's prediction. And then from Friday on, we'll give our prediction and take everybody else's predictions on Friday. So that's how we'll do it. Is that good with you?
Fine with me.
Throw them out there. We want to see what everybody says. And hey, look, I got even a better idea. Each week, when you throw your prediction out there, we'll give a T-shirt or a hat away. Okay?
Ooh, I like that.
T-shirt or hat the next week to the person that had
The closest
score. And we'll do a tiebreaker on there. That way, there's not 10 people that said 28-24. And that would be the score. And you're like, well, who won? So we'll have like rushing yards by one particular person or total receiving yards by, Auburn or passing yards by Jackson Arnold. We'll do a tiebreaker each week. That way everybody can throw it out there. So post game, let's go to the Branch Davidians compound or what's left of it with where David Koresh was and do the post games. We talked about that the other day with Taylor at practice. Like when you hear Waco,
oh my gosh,
when you hear Waco, that's all people think about. Like if you're not from Texas and not from Waco, like it's the Branch Davidians, it's David Koresh, it's all of that stuff. If you don't know what we're talking about, just go Google it. Nope, Justin, I won't be going to Mount Carmel. We'll try to find something else. That'd be a little spooky to go out there, but that's what we're going to do each and every week. So make sure you kind of get in that mode on Fridays with us. It'll be Thursday next week because the game will be on Friday, obviously. But every Friday moving forward, get your predictions in, and we'll throw out the tiebreaker out there, and you can just list them in the comments, and then we can go back and see who had the prediction that was the closest, and you get a hat or a T-shirt sent to you. We'll mail it out. And do you happen to have one of the new sweatshirts on right now?
I do.
Faith? I mean,
yes.
There it is. So how about that? Look at that thing. I
love it.
Pretty sharp. I have to admit. So we got some new stuff. Obviously, the new hats, the new sweatshirts, the new T-shirts out there. Team JPC. Yeah, it's not even in Waco. That's right. Like the reason, and Taylor did that little education part for us. Like Waco was the nearest big city for all the reporters to have to go back in the day and send their reports out. So when they sent their reports out, they sent it from Waco, Texas. So that's why that you see Waco attached to all that. I think it's 25 miles outside of Waco, something like that.
Something like that.
When all that went down, we didn't have all these cell phones and Wi-Fi and all this stuff. So, Brett, what we need: Auburn Blitz short sleeve pullovers. You're exactly right. We need to do that.
I'm still waiting on my rain jacket, Justin. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Hey, we're doing all we can do over here. So
yeah, I'm just glad I got this. I'm so excited.
Got some pretty cool stuff, and Brinley's got hers on today, by the way.
Yes,
she has supported Auburn Blitz 2 days in a row. She wore the T-shirt to school yesterday. Now she's worn the sweatshirt, and she said all her friends are like, "Where can I get that? How can I get it? Whatever." So we appreciate all of you out there that support us on that very, very much. So, all right, let's get to a couple more of our partners. One's in my house right now, by the way, downstairs, knocking around, actually texting me right now. Old Number One Customs.
Why don't you talk about them? Because
you want me to talk about them, Faye? Yeah, as they're hammering away downstairs. Yeah, they are the best at what they do. If you need a master bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, outdoor living space, remodel, renovation, or you want to just build it, call on Old Number One Customs. And man, it's coming together pretty quickly down there. They're going to work all the way through the weekend. They are a no nonsense. They get after it. They try to get in and out of your house in 2 weeks or even less. And I see why now, because they are relentless down there. So make sure you call on them. They would appreciate that. And we're going to be able to show you some pictures and videos when ours is done here in a couple of weeks. So call on them, 334-752-6162.
JFA Blue Plumbing, they've got the Home Atlas Water Filter Duo that we keep talking about. And seriously, it's so important to have filtered water throughout your whole house for your own health, your hair, your skin, everything, your animals, whatever it is, because it's so important to just the actual health part of your body. And so You want to make sure you get that Home Atlas Water Filter Duo installed by JFA Blue Plumbing, only $15.99. And until you realize what you're consuming, you're going to freak out. So just call on them, 844-JFA Blue.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to pick a cup of that water and just take it and drink it out of that filter, you would not do that. So that says all you need to know.
Oliver Ross, if you've got a party of 20 all the way up to a party of 20,000, it doesn't matter. Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you because they're going to make sure that they come in there, take care of all your guests, make sure that, everyone is having a good time while you host the entertainment part of it all. And they've got the bartending. That's what they're licensed and they're professionals. So focus on that for them. And then they'll actually take everything down when they're done. So if you've got a tailgate, if you've got sorority or fraternity date parties, weddings, whatever it is, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you.
Absolutely, man. They are gearing up, getting after it. And so you better call on them. If you want them to come to your function, they book up pretty quick in the fall. So you need to get on that. Sam said, where can we buy the sweatshirts? We're going to try to get that pushed out at some point in time, Sam, on our website. So just hang in there with us, and I don't know where that came from.
I was going to say.
I'm like, I don't have a hair that's that long. I don't know where that came from. So yeah, we'll get that out there. We've gotten a lot of requests for that. So definitely we'll get that out there available for people to purchase. So in our little swag store, I guess we can do that. We can say hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, pullovers, rain jackets. We're going to try to have a whole line of those things, but it should be fun. So, all right, guys, been a lot of fun today. Again, there is high school football tonight in Montgomery on our AHSA radio network. Prattville and Pike Road will be getting things kicked off. Our show is out. Our On the Road with the AHSA radio network show is out today. Be looking for that on social media and on WOTM and APT statewide the game, right before the game kicks off. You'll see that. We had a great time in Montgomery this week. And then kind of a preview next week. The game of the week will be Benjamin Russell, Central Clay. And I don't know that there'll be a bigger one in the state. So it won't be a long travel for me, especially. Next week we'll be in Alexander City, but we're going to be doing some pretty neat stuff. We won't give away what we're going to be doing next week. I know Faith's excited, and Maddie will be back with us to help out with that show. So you'll just have to stay tuned and see what we got in store for everybody next week on the road show. But Faith, I'll let you send us out.
I hope everybody has the best day ever.
And a big old
War Eagle.